It's like the news, but for nerds. Subscribe so you never miss an episode. Nerd Avengers, it is Josh, and this is your Nerdy News Rundown for Monday, June 7th, 2021. And buckle up, because this might be one of the craziest Nerdy News Rundowns we have ever done. There is insane news coming out about Secret Wars and a possible Secret Wars tease for the Loki show, and it's got me like, holy friggin' Secret Wars! But before we get into that, what would otherwise be on any other day, the top story of the day? Marvel Studios has apparently cast Namor for Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever. Wakanda Forever! This is an exclusive over on the Illuminati. It says here, Black Panther 2, Tenoch Huerta is Namor, and intriguing Atlantean supporting cast reveal. It says down here, Fandom Wire previously reported that Black Panther 2 would include a conflict between Wakanda and Atlantis, which has led to speculation from fans. It was also reported that Narcos Mexico star Tenoch Huerta had joined the cast as an unknown villain, and after some intense digging, the Illuminati has learned from our sources that Tenoch Huerta will be playing none other than Namor the Submariner. Now, they go on to explain in the article a little bit about Namor, saying fans have long suspected that Namor would be making his MCU debut in Black Panther 2. Namor is one of Marvel's first characters, making his first public appearance in Marvel Comics #1, the first comic book of Timely Comics, the predecessor of Marvel. Namor is also considered the first anti-hero in comic books in general. Namor is the mutant son of a human father and Atlantean mother, and is Atlantean royalty, eventually taking his place on the throne. Namor has a long and storied history in Marvel Comics, portrayed as an anti-hero, a short-tempered superhero, and an antagonist attacking the surface dwellers who he perceives as wronging his kingdom and people. Although many of Namor's powers come from his Atlantean heritage, he also possesses unique mutant abilities like flight. Namor and Atlantis have a long history with Wakanda and T'Challa in the comics, and two hidden kingdoms known for warring against each other. There's also an interesting element in this report talking about how a report from POC Culture had revealed that Black Panther 2 was looking to cast one Mayan woman called Zayana and one Mayan man named Cadmail. Casting had indicated at the time that they were looking for all actors of North and South American indigenous background. And at the Illuminati, they can now reveal that the two Mayan warriors for Black Panther 2 have been looking to cast our important characters in Namor and Atlantean lore. Zayana is codenamed for Namora, Namor's cousin, while Cadmail is codename for Atuma, an Atlantean warlord. Now, this is a juicy report on face value, but was made even more interesting by controversial tweets. I know, controversial tweets. Here we go again. That were uncovered that apparently Mr. Huerta had made on his social media accounts. And look, I'm not going to say some of the things that are apparently in these tweets. And by the way, this is a developing story. I'd love for it to come out that that wasn't actually his account, or that wasn't actually something he said, or there was a terrible mistranslation or some kind of error like that. I'd love for that to be the case. So for now, we're going to say this is a developing story. But from what I have seen online, it just straight up doesn't look very good. I mean, honestly, it's a little bit weird because Disney's technically paid, or rather they pay people to vet people, to go out there and look at their social media, to see if there are any skeletons out there, to see if any crazy things like this are out there. You know, it's just so wild to me that Disney is apparently working with this guy, you know, doing this thing. We tend to trust the Illuminati around here, but it is still just a report and a rumor for now. But this thing comes out, which would mean that Disney had vetted this guy, and then Twitter literally does a better job in less than an hour. Again, developing story, and we don't even know if the tweets are A, his, or B, as bad as they're being portrayed by some people online. I know there's different translations and different ways to colloquially, you know, use different words for different regions. So again, we shall see, but a very odd little addition to the Namor story. Now, when it comes to Namor in general and Black Panther 2, I think some of the comments made by Martin Friedman argument about just the strangeness of the script may well make more sense now. It had long been rumored, even before Chadwick Boseman had tragically passed, that the plot of Black Panther 2 was going to be very international and would include a conflict between Atlantis and Wakanda. But we also heard Dr. Doom's name sprinkled around the rumor mill with regards to Black Panther 2 as well. And it could be a situation in which Namor's Atlantean armies, went to war with the armies of Wakanda, and it's possible that this conflict had actually been created by Dr. Doom, something similar to the Doom Wars comic from Marvel Comics. But either way, absolutely juicy news talking about some plans for Wakanda Forever, lining up with a lot of other reports. Seems like this is the general direction they are going with that film, and also a weird addition to this story, as the man who is supposedly going to play this role has also been uncovered to say some pretty distasteful things on Twitter. I mean, what a world. You tell me what you think about all of this in the comments section below. And now let's get into the thing that I really want to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, how sweet it feels to be validated. Yes, indeed, Secret Wars news. The first morsel of Secret Wars news that we have had for some time. If you've been watching my channel, whether the live channel or this channel here, for any amount of time, you will recall that after Avengers Endgame, I had talked a lot about Marvel's Secret Wars and how I thought Secret Wars was where Marvel's Phase 4 and beyond was heading to. I had talked to a lot of different people, sources, people from behind the scenes, imaginary friends, etc., etc. And all of us agreed that Secret Wars was likely to be the direction Marvel was going in, and then nothing, and then no connections, and then the connections we thought might be in WandaVision ended up being some friggin' boner, man. But oh, today, that all turns around as an exclusive from Murphy'sMultiverse.com indicates that Michael Waldron, the head writer of the Loki series, well, he's teasing out some Secret War bits. And I must say, too, I do believe this is slightly spoilery for the Loki series. So I do just want to give a slight warning there. If you don't want any, spoilers for Loki, get on out of here. But I will now read from the article, and then I'll talk about what it means and why I think it's a little bit of a spoiler. Again, this is an exclusive over on Murphy'sMultiverse.com. It is from an interview that Charles himself had with Michael Waldron, who, again, is the head writer of the Disney Plus show. It says here on the article, our very own Charles Murphy got a chance to sit down with head writer Michael Waldron to discuss the Disney Plus show. Murphy asked if an animated sequence that details the TVA's history, a previous multiversal war, and the potential for altered timelines to create more multiversal conflicts might tease a connection to the famous Marvel storyline Secret Wars, possibly being adapted for the MCU. Waldron had the following to say: "We'll see. You'll probably know, as well as I do, not everything is just in there. If the purpose of that whole thing was to just indoctrinate the audience and everything, yeah, we'll see how this plays out in the MCU moving forward." Of course, he doesn't outright confirm anything, but the inclusion certainly seems intentional. Ever since Endgame was released, Secret Wars seemed to be the perfect follow-up event. We've already witnessed Thanos snapping half the world out of existence, and our heroes traveling through time, so the next major event would need to top even that, and it seemed like a natural fit with all the multiversal stories that they would collide at one point. We cannot wait to see where the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is heading. Okay, so let me break down what I think is going on in this interview. And again, this is sort of a developing story as well, but I believe this was a moment with an interview that Charles Murphy did with Michael Waldron, and I would assume this is after he had seen the episodes, because he's talking about a sequence that explains the history of the TVA in animated form. It talks about a past multiversal war, about branch timelines, and the possibility for future multiversal conflicts. And I gotta be honest, I feel like if that had been out there, I would have commented on it by now, which makes me think it's not in the promotional material, but rather in one of the two episodes that Charles Murphy and many other insiders saw in preparation maybe for this interview. So it slightly spoils something I would assume that is going to happen in the show. And the fact that the TVA does have a history that includes a past multiversal war and future multiversal conflicts does perfectly set up Secret Wars, which again, I have thought for a long time was the direction Marvel Studios is going. So for now, we're going to have to wait and see how this actually manifests itself in the Loki show, whether or not it's pretty overt, whether or not it becomes more overt as we go forward in the show, or it's something that's going to slightly be teased out here and then and then teased out in other MCU things as well, like Spider-Man 3 and Doctor Strange 2. But Charles Murphy is one of the OG scoopers that I literally did an interview with and talked about Secret Wars, and we were both pretty confident, even a year or two ago now at this point, that that was where the MCU was headed, and they were going to do it way faster than people thought, or at least start to set it up way faster than people thought. And so there you have it, Nerd Vengers, a little Secret Wars news, a little bit of crazy news about Namor, the possibility of Namor doing the speed run and holding the record for being confirmed and then fired for an MCU role. And oh yeah, there's a Loki preview video on the channel, and we're going to be doing live watch parties for Loki, and we have merch that's only available while Loki is airing, so there's a lot of hype stuff happening over here at the Nerd Vengers Tower. Make sure you're checking out our live streaming channel. Make sure you are subscribed to this channel, and as I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I will see you in the next video.